On behalf of Logan Davis.
Your name, sir?
Logan Davis, sir.
Your Honor, today had been set, I believe, for a potential evidentiary hearing. Counsel has not yet made any remarks with respect to the motions into the record. At this time, the people obviously have some things that will may or may not want to keep in mind before we actually begin to take my testimony.
Do you have your officer here?
They are here.
I mean, I don't know what you want to argue.
All right, buckle up because this case dives straight into the legal gray zone where procedure matters just as much as the numbers. We're watching the People versus Logan Davis, a DUI case that's not about reckless driving or a dramatic crash, but about how the evidence was gathered, when tests were administered, and whether the officer followed protocol down to the minute. The prosecution says probable cause was clear and public safety came first. The defense, they're calling out shortcuts, timing violations, and testing errors that could unravel the entire case. And here's the twist. This isn't about whether alcohol was present. It's about whether the law was followed precisely enough for that evidence to stand. Stay locked in, because what happens next could decide whether this case survives at all.
Well,
I've read the briefs.
just to cite a couple different matters. No, a little more elegant.
Yeah.
Thank you. Judge, my point is, even if Mr. Bohannes is correct on his assertions, it neither suppresses the evidence he seeks to suppress, nor does it exclude. I would indicate to the court that under People versus Wagner, there is no longer a requirement for admissibility to be based on a 15-minute waiting period. It goes to weight. In fact, Judge, all of his arguments go to weight and not admissibility. He's made an nystagmus argument. Under the case law, we are still within the tolerable range for reading nystagmus, 4 or 6 clues. The case that I believe he's relying on, Bayer, has 2 of 6 clues. There is plenty of probable cause for the arrest, but most importantly, Judge, as the court is aware, under all the what we can call them the bail reforms, MCL 764.9 governs arrest without a warrant. And operating while intoxicated is considered a serious misdemeanor. However, if this matter were even considered a quote-unquote impaired arrest, under Section 5C, if there's a reasonable likelihood that the offense would continue or another person would be endangered, the defendant cannot be released. So by definition, Judge, it would have been, number one, unlawful to permit Mr. Davis to continue on his way after probable cause, in our view, was shown that he was intoxicated. And number two, would have exposed the city of Woodhaven to massive liability as he's operating a motor vehicle on Freeland, and at least according to 2 of our officers, in an intoxicated state. So the people are suggesting that there's no discovery in district court other than by order. And the order this court executed did not indicate depositions. The court indicated what needs to be turned over. We turned it over. There's nothing in there that provides for a deposition. I think that's what Mr. Bohannes is seeking to do. And so the people indicate we don't believe we've risen to a level where we can even show if there's a question that the court could rule upon, even in the best light, that would exclude the evidence. Thank you, Judge.
Thank you. Do you want to say anything?
Under the new laws, OWI is considered not a serious misdemeanor.
I know.
So he's totally wrong on that. And so I really don't know where he's coming from, to be honest with you. I did have a brief discussion with the prosecutor regarding possibly resolving the matter, but so I didn't know if you wanted to see us about that, or if you're still of that mind, or.
Your Honor, the city of Woodhaven has a fairly strict policy that any significant reduction in a plea bargain must be approved by the arresting officer, and that has not been the case this morning.
What, you're asking for something other than a drunk driving?
Yeah, sure. Yeah, there's a lot of issues with this case, and you'll see them. They give them a PBT after he's chewing gum 3 minutes later. They, just a whole, they didn't wait the 15 minutes, he didn't observe him for the 15, there's a lot of things. And if you watch the video, you're gonna probably see the best display of performance of field sobriety test that you've seen as a judge.
Okay, well,
And we're talking about a case that's 0.08.
what are you asking me to do? I mean,
I guess we need to proceed, I was under the impression that they wanted, we're seeking just. I'm not sure if I should mention this to the clerk, but,
well, I'm sure you were, it sounds like you were seeking something other than impaired. You were
Yeah.
asking for something else.
yeah, we're seeking reckless charge in lieu of the.
But that's not for me. What do I gotta talk about?
No, yeah, that's fine,
Let's have the evidentiary hearing
that's fine.
and we'll go from there. What officer are you going to call first?
Your Honor, Officers Timmis and Officers Cash.
Okay.
And we provided the video, Your Honor, so, to Lisa, as you suggested.
Right.
So she'll be able to display the video, and we're gonna be using that as part of our presentation. We can do it after, the officer testifies, or
Okay,
if you want.
good enough.
That's,
Call your first witness.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Good morning. Come on up here, officer. I'm going to ask you to raise your right hand. You solemnly swear or affirm under penalties of perjury that the testimony you will give in these proceedings will be the whole true self you got.
Yes.
All right, have a seat, please. And you may proceed, Mr. Thurman.
Many people proceed, Your Honor.
yes.
Good morning, Officer. Your name, please?
Officer Timmis
And, Officer Timmis, how are you employed?
by the city of Woodhaven
And in what capacity?
as a police officer.
Okay. Briefly, with respect to any training and experience that you may have, can you outline for the court and for defense counsel, what requirements you met in order to become a sworn Michigan peace officer?
It's in addition to me having a bachelor's in criminal justice, I attended a police academy. Very pleased.
Thank you. And, with respect to any areas of greater attention for you, the patrolman encounters all manner of, activity. What, if any, specific discipline is your long suit, so to speak? When do you have more experience or training?
With people operating under the influence of either alcohol or narcotics.
Very well. And, can you estimate, were you employed, I'm sorry, Judge, were you employed by a different department before you came to Woodhaven?
Yes,
And what department was that?
the city link department, which
Thank you. And, since you've been to Woodhaven, because that's a shorter period of time, how many years has that been?
6 at Lincoln Park, and this is my 3rd year here at Woodhaven.
Thank you. Can you estimate how many, alcohol enforcement arrests you've made since being sworn in at Woodhaven?
At Woodhaven. Approximately 30 to 40, maybe at the high end.
Thank you. So Officer Timmis, I'm directing your attention to July the 22nd of this past summer. Were you on duty that day?
Yes,
And were you operating a marked patrol unit?
I was.
All right. Drawing your attention to the evening hours, did you have any cause to make a traffic stop at approximately 8:20?
Yes.
And can you please describe that traffic stop for me?
I was a Chevy Cruze traveling near me. I noticed that it had an October 2023 registration sticker. I ran the plate and it was expired, so I stopped it.
So October 2023, year and a half stale tag, is that your testimony?
Yes,
Okay. And did you have occasion to stop this vehicle?
I did.
Was there any difficulty in attempting to stop it?
No,
And what if anything happened, at that point? When you stop a vehicle, do you radio first that you are in fact conducting a traffic stop?
yes,
Okay, so the state, and therefore your colleagues knew what you were doing?
yes.
Okay. So what happened next after the vehicle stopped?
Made contact with the driver.
Okay, did you notice anything notable about the driver?
His eyes were bloodshot, and water, blood red and water.
Did you detect any odors other than the
Objection,
odor of the
leading.
Chevy Cruze?
Wait a minute, I didn't hear the rest of the question.
I asked if he detected any odors other than the odor of a Chevrolet Cruze, Your Honor, the vehicle in question.
Nah, over there, over there. Go
I
ahead.
did smell an odor of dog scent, so I don't be.
Okay. So when you answered that, you said intoxicants and it didn't say alcohol, correct?
Right.
What if anything happened next?
I had another unit make my stop and I conducted a field sobriety on the driver.
All right, who, if anyone, was in that other unit?
Officer Cash.
Okay. And in addition to, the condition you described, which I believe you said, well, watery eyes,
Yes, they were red and white.
and you said there was an odor that you detected. What was the third item?
Just red bloodshot eyes. Water.
All right, so red rimmed eyes and watery eyes, correct? Okay. Did the defendant, at any time verbalize why he may have known that he was pulled over? Was he aware of his license plate?
I believe he was, yes.
Oh. And you indicated you did call for backup. You suggested field sobriety. Can you briefly describe, what, if any, training you received in field sobriety? That would be considered a standardized test under Michigan law.
Yeah, through the academy, they put us all through standard field sobriety training, so we're all certified in that from the academy. And then I also attended A-Ride school, which is put on through the Michigan State Police.
Okay. And within the realm of field sobriety tests, is it fair to say that, there are three principal tests that are found to be the most reliable?
For alcoholism,
Okay. And what are those three?
horizontal gaze, nystagmus, walk and turn, and one leg stand.
And knowing that and knowing the training on that, you mentioned 40 previous arrests. Did you have occasion on any number of those to perform the test you just described?
Yes,
Okay. So when you indicated to the defendant you wanted him to begin some field sobriety tests for you, what if anything happened next?
he complied and got out of the vehicle. He did not.
Okay. And what was the first test you administered?
Horizontal gaze, nystagmus.
Okay, can you please describe that test for the court?
Yeah, it's we can get the driver's attention for his eyes. They have his eyes move only on the stimulus, which I use to tip my finger. And you look for the involuntary jerking, so called, for the eyes.
Okay. And did you have occasion to train on that test at the police academy?
Yes,
And did you have occasion to administer that test to any motorist before administering it to Mr. Davis?
yes.
Okay. So what, if anything, did your administration of the nystagmus test tell you?
that he was definitely under the influence of.
Okay. There are phrases that we hear, a lot in alcohol enforcement, including, maximum deviation, 45 degrees. Specifically, what is it that you believe you saw when you administered the nystagmus test?
I observed a lack of smooth pursuit in both of his eyes, and I also observed the distinct and sustained nystagmus at maximum deviation in both of his eyes.
Very well. And based on your training and experience, you believe that that test was one of battery of field sobriety tests that would indicate intoxications.
Yes.
What, if any, test did you administer next?
Walking turn test.
Okay, can you describe that test?
It showed the driver and him start in the position I wanted him to start in. I gave him directions, I showed him what I wanted him to do, and then I told him what I wanted to do. So you start out in the starting position, wait till he tell you to start, and you take 9 steps heel to toe, counting out loud. Once you get to your 9th step, take a series of small steps, turn and go back to 9 steps.
Okay. In administering a psychophysical test, so to speak, field sobriety test, what, if any, role do instructions to the motorist play?
It's important because they have to pay attention and know what you're asking of them.
So it's a fair statement to say both the physical performance, as it were, and the ability to follow instructions are matters that you're attuned to. Is that fair?
Yes.
Okay. And in explaining that to the defendant, how, if at all, did the defendant perform on the walking test?
When he got to the turn after his 9th step, he did not turn in the fashion I demonstrated. He did not take a series of small steps. And then on his way back, instead of taking 9 steps, he took 10. Okay.
So when you say a series of small steps, can you demonstrate that for the court in terms of how you would instruct on that? And describe that test to the court brief.
You start out with your feet together, hands at your sides. When I tell you to start, pick whatever foot that you choose, left or right, 6 inches off the ground. Just count 1,001, 1,002 until I tell you to stop.
Okay. And how, if at all, did the defendant perform in that test?
He performed that test as instructed.
And what, if anything, happened next in terms of any administration of any tests?
Asked him to submit to a preliminary breath test. He said he would.
Okay. And in administering the breath test, can you estimate how many minutes into the traffic stop it was?
15.
Okay. Did the defendant have anything in his mouth that you could
At
say?
the time of the stop, he did was chewing gum, but I had to spit it out before they could.
So when you administered the test, you were using a portable breath test unit that is, maintained and certified with Woodhaven PD through the state police, is that right?
The PVC, yes.
Yes. Okay. And are you aware of anything that was, malfunctioning with respect to that PVT?
No.
Okay. What, if any, PVT result did you see after you administered the test?
PVT result 0.086, I believe.
What, if anything, happened next?
I subsequently placed him under arrest for driving under the influence.
And when you place somebody under arrest and there is perhaps another driver, is it required to impound the vehicle for the safety of the vehicle?
Yes.
Okay. Anything unusual about that impoundment process in terms of the vehicle itself and or its contents?
Objection irrelevant, Your Honor. We're here only on the test of the suppression of the PBT and the intoxicants 90,000. This goes to a different count in the case.
Your Honor, I think that the law actually provides a non-standardized test may be used with respect to trying to detect the prior consumption of alcohol. All tests do not have to be
Well,
squaring with
did
the
he,
national.
did he conduct a non-standard,
Transportation safety.
did he conduct a non-standard field sobriety test?
I'm sorry, Judge?
Did he conduct a non-standard field sobriety test?
It is my contention to the court relative to the objection that one forgetting they have a firearm under their seat could be considered as similar to instructions or other issues with respect to memory and indicia that he may have been.
Well, that's not a non-standard field sobriety test, so
Okay,
right?
I will withdraw.
Thank you, I'll sustain.
Thank you. Upon impoundment, can you indicate what, if anything, happened next with respect to your conduct with the defendant?
Sure, I can speak that once I placed him under arrest, he notified me that he had a pistol in the vehicle and he was seeking out.
At any time did you secure the defendant in your vehicle?
I did.
Okay. Do you recall approximately what time that was?
I placed him under arrest roughly 8:35, so 8:36, 8:37 was in the back of the car.
And approximately how far is it, or us being in Michigan, how many minutes is it to the station house?
We're already in 75, so we're gonna bring on train in 5 minutes.
And during this encounter, so from the time you pulled the defendant over, was your attention taken away from him for any considerable length of time? Okay. Can you briefly describe the procedure for the physical being of the defendant in terms of coming in through the Sally port and processing? What happened next?
Yeah, so he was, I brought him out of the car, he was obviously handcuffed behind his back. Put his property on the counter, and then I read him his chemical test rates from the DI so.
Okay. And where exactly this, what is the nature or the model or the make of the unit that Woodhaven uses for breathalyzing at the station?
The oxygen, man.
Okay. Are you trained on the intoxicants? Please describe that training for the court.
So, when you come on our training, you gotta go down, I had to go down to MSP headquarters where they taught the whole course. They showed, instructed you everything there is to know about the machine, how to use the machine.
Okay. Does this machine, strike that, how does this machine compare to the data master in terms of ease of operation?
To be honest, I like the data master better than. It's still pretty easy to use.
Okay. And did you follow the training protocol that you were given when you began the cycle, so to speak, for the intoxilizer test on Mr. Davis?
Yes.
Describe that.
So you start the machine up, it's gotta warm up, and then you take some time for that. You put in your info, your certification, then you put in his info. Then the machine runs through its blank test, and then it'll tell you invoices and, blow into the machine.
Okay. And did in fact, Mr. Davis provide a breath sample?
He did.
Was there anything in his mouth?
No.
Had he been observed by you and or Officer Cash up to that?
Yes.
For how many minutes can you estimate?
At least.
Okay. And when was the traffic stop?
8.
Okay. And do you recall when the first breath sample was taken?
I'll say shortly before 9.
Okay. How many minutes would that?
Now pay close attention, because this testimony is doing a lot of heavy lifting for the prosecution. Officer Timus walks the court through standardized field sobriety testing, his training, and his experience, but the defense is clearly setting up something bigger. Notice the details. Red, watery eyes, an odor of multiple field tests, and a PBT result hovering right at the legal limit. On paper, that sounds solid. But courtroom cases aren't one on impressions, they're one on precision. Timing, observation periods, instructions given, and strict compliance with testing manuals all matter. And when a defendant passes one test but struggles with another, it opens the door to reasonable doubt. Here's the real question. Does this testimony reflect careful policing or assumptions filling in the gaps? Watch closely, because the cross-examination is about to test every claim made here.
So between the traffic stop and moments, roughly 40 minutes.
Thank you. And what was the test result with respect to that intoxication?
The exact number I have to refer to on the report.
Would it refresh your memory if you were able to refer?
Yeah, well,
Thank you. But the court's okay, and go ahead.
Yes.
Thank you, Judge.
first test result was a 0.084.
And is that is that coincidental to the PDT?
Yeah, it's roughly around the same number.
Okay, all right. Turning back to the roadway. Based on your training and experience, do you believe that the defendant was intoxicated?
Yes,
And do you believe he was too intoxicated to continue driving?
yes,
Did you believe a crime was being committed or had been committed in your presence?
yes.
Would you have, based on what you saw in terms of field sobriety tests and PBT, would you have permitted the defendant to just drive up?
No,
Did the defendant at any point suggest, let me lock it up and I'll get an Uber or walk?
no.
Okay. I have nothing further at this time.
Cross.
So you were wearing a body worn camera on the date in question, correct?
That is correct, sir.
Okay. And you also have a drive cam in the vehicle, correct?
No, I can't do the
Okay. Now the body worn camera would demonstrate the length of the observation you had when you were continuously observing Mr. Davis, correct?
You asked me if my body camera was on him at all times throughout my encounter with him?
Well, it was on when I watched the video. Did you watch the video?
I did.
Okay. Was it on when you got out of your car to approach his car?
Yes.
Okay. And did it remain on at all times after that? Until you arrested him?
Until we got to the police station.
This case ultimately boils down to one critical issue: whether law enforcement followed procedure closely enough for the evidence to remain legally sound. The prosecution argues there was clear probable cause, consistent officer observations, and corroborating test results that justified the arrest. The defense, however, zeroes in on timing discrepancies, possible deviations from standardized testing protocols, and uncertainty surrounding calibration and observation requirements. The judge now has to weigh not just what happened, but how it happened. This kind of ruling has broader implications, because it affects how DUI investigations are conducted moving forward, and how strictly courts enforce procedural safeguards. If you found this case as intense and thought-provoking as we did, make sure to hit that like button, share your thoughts in the comments, and don't forget to subscribe for more jaw-dropping courtroom breakdowns and real legal analysis.